You've just joined the Prepper Broadcasting Network, where we promote self-reliance and independence. The views and opinions expressed are strictly those of the host or their guests. Visit us in the interactive chat room at prepperbroadcasting.com.
Good evening and welcome to Preparing for Life Storms with Bear Prepper. Today is Tuesday, December 25th, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And it's my pleasure to welcome you in tonight. We are on air from 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time every Tuesday on American Preppers Radio, powered by PrepperBroadcasting.com. We broadcast 11 different hosts 7 days a week. So please check out the host tab for more information on shows and times. You can also listen to all previous shows under the host archive. If you'd like to join us in the chat room, come on over to PrepperBroadcasting.com and click on Listen and Chat at the top of the page, which will then take you to the chat room. Create your name or just accept the default name and come on in. You'll always be in for a great treat with some lively chat and interesting conversation. Tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, Goat Hollow and the Surreal News. The facts about where the world is heading without all the missing stuff in between. So right now, we're going to have a word from our sponsors.
Tonight's broadcast brought to you in part by Joe and Amy Alton, the authors of the #1 Amazon bestseller, The Doom and Bloom Survival Medicine Handbook. See their articles in Backwoods Home, Survivalist, Self-Reliance Illustrated, and Survival Quarterly magazines. Visit Joe and Amy's website at www.doomandbloom.net.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Ozark Mountain Preparedness, providing top-quality instructional courses for people who desire to pursue a self-reliant lifestyle, whether in the wilds or right at home. Course topics include wilderness and urban survival, fur trapping, bushcraft, primitive skills, long-term wilderness living, land navigation, GPS, home disaster preparation, outdoor cooking, food procurement and storage, foraging wild edibles, and many others. Visit Ozark Mountain Preparedness at www.ozarkmountainpreparedness.com.
I hope everyone had a wonderful and joyous Christmas, and it is so great to see everyone in the chat room tonight. Thank you for joining us. And, you know, I want to say a special thank you to G-Man and DB for taking time out of their Christmas day to come on in and support us and give us all a chance to join together on Christmas Day. So thank you, guys. I appreciate everything. So tonight we're going to be talking about setting goals. And, you know, towards the end of the year is a great time to start thinking about this so that you can really set yourself up for a good beginning for the new year. So when we're talking about setting goals, you know, we want to talk about the positives and the negatives of goal setting, because believe it or not, there are some negatives to being a goal setter. I hope you all will call in, and I hope you'll share your goals and give some of the new bee preppers and some of us that are old hands some ideas so that we can better tune our goals for this coming year and help us to be more realistic about them so that we can actually achieve them. So what I'd like to cover first, I'd like to talk about some basics on what makes a good goal. I like to use the energy SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And acronyms seem to help me remember things, and so I try to put acronyms to everything. So the S in SMART is specific. And goals should be straightforward and emphasize what you want to happen. Specifics help us to focus our efforts and clearly define what we want to do. So specific is what, why, how of the SMART model. What are you going to do? And remember, use action words such as direct, organize, coordinate, lead, develop, those kind of language. The why is it important to do it at this time? What do you want to ultimately accomplish? Those are really important questions. And the third one, how are you going to do it? You got to be able to have a how. Sorry about that interference, guys. Not sure what that is. Ensure the goals you set is very specific, clear, and easy. Instead of setting a goal to be self-sufficient, set a goal to, build a chicken coop or even study about raising chickens. Your long-term goal of being sufficient is just something that's going to be really difficult to attain. So the next in it is M. M in the SMART model is for measurable. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. In the broadest sense, the whole goal statement is a measure for the project. If the goal is accomplished, there is a success. However, there are usually several short-term or small measurements that can be built into the goal. Choose a goal with measurable progress so you can see how the changes occur. How will you see when you reach your goal if it's not measurable? Be specific. You can't generalize on this if you ever want to achieve it. I want to have all the supplies to build my chicken coop by April. That shows a specific target to measure. Being self-sufficient by raising my own chickens is not measurable. Then you need to establish concrete criteria for measuring your progress toward the attainment of your goal. When you measure your progress, you stay on track, you reach your target dates, you experience the exhilaration of achievement, and it spurs you on to continuing effort to reach your goal. And, sometimes that's the hardest part, is staying focused and staying the course. And as preppers, you know that nothing we do happens in a moment, in a week, in a year. It's something that we have to continually work towards. And one of the reasons why we have radio shows like this is to help us stick together in this path that we're all heading for and have that connection so that we have somebody to bounce ideas off and somebody that can help us along the path. The A in SMART is attainable. When you identify goals that are most important to you, you begin to figure out ways you can make them come true. You develop attitudes, abilities, skills, and the financial capacity to reach them. You begin seeing previously overlooked opportunities to bring yourself closer to the achievement of your goal. Goals you set which are too far out of reach, you probably won't commit to doing, although you may start with great intentions. The knowledge that it's too much for you means that your subconscious will keep reminding you of this fact, and it'll stop you from even giving it your best. The goal needs to stretch you slightly so you feel you can do it. It will need a real commitment from you. For instance, if you aim to build a chicken coop If you don't put funds aside for the materials, then your goal will be unachievable. But if you set your goal to put away, say, $500 of the materials by April, then you need to set your smaller goals and put away, say, $170 per month or $85 every paycheck in order to achieve that goal, because you can't build a chicken coop if you don't have the materials that you need. The feeling of success, which will bring you to maintain your motivation. That prepper says she already had her coop there. Lucky you. That's something that I got to work on. And then the R in SMART is realistic. This is not a symptom. This is not a sentiment. I can't say that word either, folks, for easy. Realistic, in this case, means doable. I mean that the learning curve is not a vertical slope, that the skills needed to do the work are available, and that the project fits with the overall strategy and goal of your path. A realistic project may push your skills and knowledge, but it shouldn't break them. Devise a plan or a way of getting there which makes the goal realistic. The goal needs to be realistic for you, where you're at the moment. A goal of building a chicken coop, if you've never done any woodworking and don't own any tools, would not be very realistic with a $500 budget and no tools. For instance, it may be more realistic to set your goal of purchasing a saw and practicing cutting boards. Be sure to set your goals that you can attain with some effort. Too difficult, and you set the stage for failure. But too low, and it sends a message that you aren't very capable. And neither one is very good. Set the bar high enough for satisfying achievement. And before I go into the tea, I want to go ahead and invite you to call into the show at 347-202-0228. Wow, I can't believe how the chat room is filling up. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm glad I decided to do this show, and I'm glad that you're here with me, and I'm glad we get to spend this wonderful day together. I hope all of you have enjoyed your family, enjoyed your peace and quiet, or whatever you were hoping to get out of today. All right, the T in SMART, it stands for timely. You got to set a time frame for the goal, whether that's next week, in 3 months. Putting an endpoint on your goal gives you a clear target to work towards. If you don't set a time, the commitment is too vague. It tends not to happen because you feel you can start at any time. Without a time limit, there's no urgency to start taking action now. Time must be measurable, attainable, and realistic. Everyone will benefit from goals and objectives if they are SMART. SMART is the instrument to apply in setting your goals and objectives. Keep things as simple as possible if you can. That has the added benefit of allowing you to focus your energies on a small number of goals, making you far more effective with them. Now, before I get into how to proceed on, I want to give you an idea of the kind of goals that I set. You know, one of my first goals, and I probably say I didn't really start focusing on goals until about 2005. I didn't see the purpose in them. You know, it's like you set your New Year's resolution, and every year you fail in your resolution. And so I wasn't much of a goal setter. But in 2005, I decided that there was hope for me to attain the life that I wanted to live, which was to be a homesteader. And the only way I was ever going to make that happen was if I set myself some goals and I pushed myself as hard as I could to reach them. And in 2005 was my step one. And my step one, like many of you, was to get out of debt. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I had some horrendous debt. I had been a single mom or divorced mom for probably 15 years. Well, maybe not that long, about 12 years. And we had some really excruciating high medical bills on an annual basis. And so I lived paycheck to paycheck, credit card to credit card. I was in debt on furniture, on cars, on a home, to the sum of about $160,000. And I made the decision to get rid of my debt. So every year I worked towards that goal. The first step was getting additional jobs. I probably had at least 2 or 3 jobs for the last, since 2005, so that's 7 years. I got myself out of debt. It was a long haul. It took me 3 years of working, going to school, doing whatever I possibly could to achieve it. But if it hadn't been for setting goals, I would have never have gotten there. The next goal I set was to have some property. Next goal was to build a shed. And I tend to do better with annual goals. Some of you might do better with 6-month goals or even 3-month goals. The 5-year plan was way too far in advance for me to even contemplate achieving. So after the shed, of course, came the garden. And I think most of you have come along with me from the garden forward. I've been on YouTube now for 2 years and on Prepper Broadcasting for about 8 months, 7 months. And so you've kind of watched this journey with me. Last year my goal was the orchard, and, you know, I almost didn't meet that one. I put it off, and I didn't do as I should have and set my baby steps one after the other. You know, you've got to set those in-between goals. You know, I would love to hear from some of you and some of your struggles with your goals and the kind of goals that you're going to set. And, you know, whatever I've done, you guys can do too. All it takes is a focus and a desire and the willingness to sacrifice whatever you have to do to achieve your goals. And I know that, you know, you asked my children if they thought it was a bad sacrifice. For who I am now and the stress I was under in 2005, what a difference my world has made. Looks like we've got G-Man wants to chime in on this. Hey, G-Man, come on in. You're welcome anytime.
Hi, Bear. Thanks for having me in. Great topic, and what, you know, for this year, well, I'm going to start. Okay. I spend so much time at the desk behind the computer, listening to the shows. I rarely get to go out and practice all these cool things, these neat things that I hear about. And my goal for this year is to try to find a little bit more time to get out and do some of these things. And today, me and Teresa is the host of Foraging for Life. And we actually went out today and started an igloo. And it's very cool. Anyway, we're probably about half done with it. Hopefully maybe we'll get it done tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day. And once we get this finished, I plan to post some pics up on the website. You know, maybe a little story about how it went and to show it off a little bit. This is something that I've never attempted before, and it's turning out pretty nice. But it's the hands-on things that I'm going to be very interested in trying to do this year.
Well, have you found, G-Man, have you found that you've just got to decide to make the time to do it?
Well, yes. It's yes.
Yep.
Well, yeah, making the time, but it's and again, that's hard. But it's this type of thing that I plan on giving it my best this year to do the hands-on, to try to document it, take pictures of it, and post it to the website. And when I was thinking about this and calling in to tell you about this igloo that we're working on, I thought, boy, wouldn't it be nice, whoever out there in the chat room or listening, if you decide to go out and do something like this, a little bit of a project, take some pictures and send them to me, and a little story about it, and let me post it up on the website so that you can share with others what it is you're learning or practicing. That would just, I think, be so wonderful to see what other people are doing to practice, to learn.
Oh. And that would be awesome, and I hope a lot of people take him up on that offer because, here at Prepper Broadcasting, we've become a family of sorts. And so we care about what happens or what the other person is doing, and that would be great to have that available to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the igloo that we put up today, I've seen, shows on it, what have you. I ain't going to say Discovery Channel. I got a thing about them right now, but anyway, in the past, and how they did it with, sawing blocks of hard frozen snow and stacking them up or what have you. But Teresa, how she taught me, she's kind of had a hand in this, in doing this with her kids, and it was really cool. We're using 5-gallon buckets and packing them with snow, and then using that as our template or to make these blocks to build this with. So a really cool idea, and then as we build it, we fill in the cracks and what have you with snow, and it's turning out really sharp. This is my plan for this year, is to practice all these things that I hear about, to learn, to teach myself. Hearing it's one thing, to go out and actually try and practice it is quite another, and that's what I hope that everybody will do. And if you go out and you do something like this, please send me some pictures and a paragraph or even an article about it, and let's share it with everybody else.
That's awesome. That's a great idea, G-Man. And I think the igloo and learning new skills is a great goal. But remember, you gotta make the path available for you to do that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Bear. That's my 2 cents, and hopefully we'll get some others with some ideas.
Thank you, G-Man. And, yeah, come on, folks, call on in and chime in, because it sure would be interesting to see what we said we were going to do this year and what we actually get accomplished a year from now. Wouldn't that be an interesting show? So let's get your ideas in here so you're kind of forced to do them. If you call in and have to say it, that means you're going to do it, isn't it? So let's get that done. All right, so while we're waiting for all of you in the chat room to call in, let's go ahead and talk about how do we decide or figure out what goals that we need to set. I'm sure you've all heard of brainstorming. If you don't already have a list of things you want to accomplish, you should start out by making a list, by brainstorming. Just throw anything on the list. You don't actually have to do everything you put on the list. It's just put everything down so you have an idea of where it is you want to go, what it is you want to learn, or what it is you want to do, and then you can take a look at that list and figure out which goal will change your life the most. That's the key, because if you see a change in your life and you're not used to doing goals, it'll get you to stick with your goals a little better. Is it something that can be accomplished in a year? You know, it can take less than a year, like I said, 1, 3, or 6 months. But if it's going to take several years, you're going to have to create a sub-goal like I did. You know, I want to be self-sufficient. Well, I can't go from 0 to 60. I got to get out of debt so I can do what I need to do to get to the self-sufficiency. You know, I've got to have some land, got to have a place to put supplies, got to have a way to cut my costs so that I can save more money, which was my garden and now my orchard. And you build upon and build upon and build upon. And then if it's like I said, it's got to make a difference in your life. If it's really something you want to achieve and something you're very passionate about, or you're going to lose interest. It looks like we got Teresa in the queue. Hey, Teresa, come on in.
Hey, Bear, how are you this evening?
I'm great. Is this the same Teresa that helped G-Man build the igloo?
It is, yeah. We've actually discussed about a few other projects, too, that I'd like to see us get started on, even if we do, you know, one step every year, knock out one small step. We've actually talked about setting up some sort of a small schooling, if you would, to teach people, you know, how to forage from the land and can, preserve herbs, things of this nature. And it kind of in my goal books to set up just one little cabin or even a teepee or a teepee site every year, complete with the poles, to be able to do that so that people from areas that, you know nothing about that can come up and bring their families, teach their kids. Things like what we did today. I used to take my kids farther up in the mountains every year around this time, and I would teach them, you know, if you ever got stranded, God forbid, out in the snow, just how to burrow down in the snow so that they could stay alive. But just simple little things like that. Getting out of debt, definitely a huge one. I'm proud of you that you were able to do that. Setting up a safety net's definitely an important thing to be able to do. But that's kind of, you know, we've tossed that around a lot, being able to help other people acquire the knowledge of being self-reliant. I think that's huge. That's very self-rewarding.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is very huge. And, you know, every time you help one person, you actually end up helping thousands of people, and you don't even realize it.
And, well, that's what the scriptures say. Give a man a fish or teach him to fish.
There you go. So what would you say, you're going to say your goal for this next year so we can see how you did a year from now. What would you say your yearly achievement goal is going to be?
Well, if we can get just one little shelter set up, you know, per summer that could house a small family in just a real remote type, no amenities, just if you would, it'd be a glorified tent, really, up in the back of the property where, you know, they have the availability to go out and hike and gather wild out edibles.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a lot of steps into doing that. It's not like you're just going to go out and put a teepee up. You're going to have to clear land. You're going to have to get supplies.
Right.
It'll keep you occupied for the year, and I think that's a great goal and an achievable goal. And that's very important.
Well, and then, you know, if it all comes down the pipe the wrong way, at least there'll be other little structures for friends, family, you know.
Yep. Well, thank you, Teresa, for calling in. I'm glad you were willing to share your goal with us, and we'll check in with you next year this time and see how you did.
We'll have pictures.
Okay. Merry Christmas to you, hon.
You too. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, it looks like we have Prepper Chickie in queue. Hey, Chicker, come on in.
Hi, Bear. How are you?
I'm doing great. I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
You too. I did.
Okay, so what? Yeah, I know. It's over with. Whoosh. So what is your goal for this year?
One of them is to expand my garden so that I have enough stuff to last me for winter.
So so you're going to expand your garden, and so you're going to have to figure out how much you need to expand it, or are you on a limited amount of expansion room?
A limited amount, and we didn't get the stuff. We didn't get the yard plowed up in the fall like we wanted to, so it's probably going to be slower than I wanted it to. But hopefully, we can get it tilled up, or part of the yard. We're gonna till up half of my yard, so we don't have to mow it.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's your goal. I mean, that's an achievable goal, and it's one that you can break down in smaller tasks and show progress month to month so that you can see yourself actually succeeding in it. I think it's a great goal.
Well, thanks, Bear.
So what are you going to grow?
Oh, let's see. Peppers, all the stuff I grew this year, peppers, tomatoes, onions, garlic, potatoes, all the stuff that you can dehydrate or can, which I thought I had a lot this spring because I had no garden last year. So it seemed like a lot to me. But since I learned how to can from all you girls on YouTube, I realized that I did not plant enough and I didn't have a big enough crop to can.
Yeah, but you know what, Chicker? I think it's one of the mistakes some of us make is our first year we go too big and we get so overwhelmed that we lose interest. So it's good that you didn't do that you didn't get so much that you couldn't keep up and you lost interest in it because it just exhausted you. So this is a better way. The way you did it is a much better way.
Right. Well, in the spring, I thought I had a lot of stuff, but when it started, yielding stuff, it wasn't as much as I thought it would be. So I did learn a lot this year from that.
And that's important too. So is there any other goals that you're going to have for this year, or is that going to be your biggie?
Well, the other one is getting out of debt, of course.
Yay! I cheer anybody who wants to get out of debt because I know it's hard, and you just got to put your nose to the grind and just know that at the end of the tunnel and the end of all the sacrifices, it will change your world.
I know. I want to do that so that we can get a retreat or actually move to a farm where we can have our alpacas and more garden and all that. So that's my big goal.
Your 5-year goal. That is awesome. And the first step to achieving that goal will be getting out of debt, because a lot of people don't realize if you've got a $300 car payment, a $1,200 house payment, you've got credit cards that you pay $200 a month on. If you just add those up and you no longer have those payments, look at how much money you have.
I know.
It's just amazing. It just changes your world, and you'll find that you never want to go down that hole again.
I know. I don't want to be in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Chicker, thank you so much for calling in, and we will see you next year, and we will see how you're doing.
Okay, thanks, Bear. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right. Bye-bye. It looks like we've got a lively little chat going on, and we have Autumn in the queue. I'm so glad everybody is having the courage to call in and verbalize your goals, because once you verbalize them, it really spurs you on, and we're all here to help spur you on when you get less motivated. Autumn, come on in.
Hi, Bear. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Autumn.
One of the things that I know that I need to do is not just I've done the gardening thing, and I feel very confident that I'm capable of doing that and getting better at it as years go on. But then I realized after being in Hurricane Sandy that if you're in a situation where you lose all of that, I don't really know how to forage. I don't know how to just go out into the world and find food. And so one of the things I want to do is learn how to forage, learn how to find food no matter where I'm at, and also become a little bit better at trapping and, hunting. My life circle changed for a little bit, and I went from being in the country to being in suburbia. And while there's things here that you can quote unquote hunt, it's a whole new ball game. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to learn more about foraging and what I can. If I was to lose all my traps, if everything was to be gone, I want to sharpen my skills and be able to survive no matter where I'm at.
There you go. Are you listening to Foraging for Life here on Prepper Broadcasting?
I kind of been out of the loop for a few months. We've had some family issues that kind of took me to in my own little life storm, so to speak, and I'm just starting now to get back on my feet and kind of get back in the direction that I'm in. But I will go through the archive and listen to some of those shows. I did not know that show was on here. So
yeah, it's great information. It'll give you a starting point, and I think that's a great goal because, you saw the pictures of those in Hurricane Sandy eating out of trash cans.
Right.
And that's a scary thought.
And, the truth is they're not showing people that there are still people here in New Jersey and Long Island that don't have electric, that don't have housing, that are living, some people are living in tents, some people are living in those little, container-type things that they've dropped off. And that the media, it's kind of fallen out of, view now because people don't want to keep hearing it over and over again. And there are people who are truly, they're in their own personal shit the fan situation, and they're learning to do things that, we're preparing for. And people have done, even people who didn't think they'd be prepared in this situation. It's kind of amazing to see it all unfolding. There are people who are surviving who never thought that they could, and under certain situations. So anyhow, that's my thing. And thank you much. And I'll go back to
Autumn. Well, I'm glad you're back with us, and thank you for coming tonight. And we will check in with you a year from now, and maybe you can tell us the things you've learned on foraging.
Very good. Thanks much.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, let me go ahead and continue on while we wait for some of you people to get some courage and call in and put your goal for this year on the radio. All right, so once you've done your brainstorming and you've looked at your list and figured out which one is going to be the most important for you, then what you have to do is you should create a mantra. This is an idea from Guy Kowalski, who said that businesses should abandon a mission statement and create a 3 to 5 word mantra instead. You use it to empower you for ideas, and you put your goal into 3 to 5 words. You write these words on an index card or make it your desktop picture or wallpaper or post it on the wall next to your computer. But do something to ensure that you never forget this mantra and repeat it out loud every day. I am going to be out of debt. I am going to build a chicken coop. And it focuses that in your brain and helps you find a way for finding the stamina to continue on. It's like weight loss seems to be a lot of people's yearly goal. But it's a really difficult one because of the fact it's very hard to focus because most people's expectations are too high. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, but that's not what you usually hear. You usually hear, I need to lose 100 pounds this year or 50 pounds this year. that's overwhelming for somebody. Absolutely overwhelming. You got to break it down into bite-sized pieces. It has to be achievable. You know, I can't go out and say, well, I want to become a, nuclear scientist this year. Well, I don't have the brain power to become a nuclear scientist. Maybe 10 years ago I did, but, the age thing is getting to me, and my brain just doesn't work the way it used to. So you got to have a mantra. All right, I guess we're going to break in here. We've got Nana, too, in the queue. Hi, Nana. Come on in.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nana. So what's your goal?
Well, as you all, everybody knows me, my computer doesn't take videos, but luckily, since it's Christmas, I got me a computer now, and I'm going to be able to make some videos. And
Yay.
hopefully with making them, I can get some feedback, positive or negative, to help me and to encourage me to do a little bit more, because with my disabilities and stuff, there's not too many things I can do without help. But, I'm still trying, and I want to encourage everybody else that's got disabilities. That don't mean that we can't do. We can do what we can do and ask for help with the rest. So
right.
I wanted to put my 2 cents worth in and let everybody know that I am going to try to make some videos and get a little bit more computer savvy out there.
Well, there you go. So your goal is going to be to have how many videos by this time next year?
Gosh, I want to try to do at least 2 a month to start out. So,
well, since
about
you're
24.
Learning, well, since you're learning, you want to be realistic. And,
right.
Right. So you want to think, okay, well, I'm going to need some time to learn. So
right.
It'll pick up 1 month. And then you're going to take some time to get in slow. So break it down, make sure it's realistic for what you can accomplish so that you keep it going. Maybe, 15 is a good goal for this year instead of 24.
Right.
So that you can learn.
Well, I think, because if you would fail, I would, I always think really negative. And that would set me back even farther. So
exactly, and that's where most people make the mistake, is they put their goals too high, and then the minute they look at it and say, "Oh man, I should have already had 4 videos, and I don't have any yet." Well, I might as well just pick that up.
Y'all make it seem so easy.
It's
doing them,
It's easier
make it seem
as
so easy.
you do it. It's time. Time makes it easy. When I first started doing videos, oh my goodness, I think I must have spent probably about 40 hours on one video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what I'm getting into.
It's that learning curve. Even the radio show. When I first started doing the radio show, oh my goodness, I would spend 20 hours prepping for a radio show. And now that I'm into it, I know how to do it. I know the best way, and I know what topics I can talk about. I spend maybe 2 hours. So you got to take that into consideration and just, set your goal. So what's your goal going to be?
I think 15.
All right. So next year.
Give me some time to get with my children and get them to help me on the road.
We're all here for you too. You just need to give us a holler. And so what we'll do is next year I'm going to play this show over before I have my show next year, and we're going to see how everybody did. And I'm really excited to go see those at least 15 videos of yours.
Okay, I'm gonna try to stick to it.
Okay, Nana. Thank you for calling in. Remember, holler.
All right. I hope everybody had a good Christmas.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jim says it showed it, Bear. You look tired. Yeah, my first videos were not very good. You know, you got to remember, I came on YouTube to do one video, show people how to can meat, because I couldn't believe nobody had meat videos out there. And then look at me now. So, oh, well, let's just move on. Okay, so the next thing you want to do after you've created your mantra is you have to say, okay, what can I do this month to make that happen? If your goal will take a year or so to accomplish, you'll want to create smaller sub-goals and figure out a project that you can do this month to get yourself a few steps closer to that goal, and focus on this project for the next month. And you can also break it down even further. And I do this and agree with this, especially for those of you that are starting to begin your food storage. What can you do today? You know, each day when you start your day, repeat your mantra and figure out what action you can do today to make your goal closer to becoming reality. It just has to be one thing. If you do one thing each day, and like I said, I tell that to new preppers all the time, just do one thing every day. If that one thing is looking in a recipe book to see what you need to make that ketchup, you know, that's one thing. If your one thing is to buy a can of peas, that's one thing. Because you will be surprised if you do this every day at the end of the year how much you've accomplished. So every day do something. You know, one of the things that I used to tell people is get up a half hour earlier every day. If you get up a half hour earlier Monday through Friday, that's 2.5 hours more time in your day, because that's the biggest thing people say is they don't have time to do something. Half hour every day. You know, instead of sitting and drinking that cup of coffee for the first hour in the morning, get your pad and paper out. You know, open a book. Get your seeds out and start organizing them. It makes a tremendous difference in your ability to achieve your goals. All right. The 5 steps may sound like a lot, and I know we've been cutting in and out, so let me go quickly over those. Brainstorming. Figure out the one thing that will change your life the most this year. Create a mantra. What can you do this month, and what can you do today? But in reality, you're just choosing a goal and creating a mantra for it and focusing on shorter-term actions to make that goal a reality. All right, folks, if you want to call into the show, phone number is 347-202-0228. And let's get you on air saying what your goal is so we can see how you do a year from now. All right? Okay, and I don't need to say welcome back because we don't have anything to go away from. So now the negative part of goal setting. Recent neuroscience research shows that the brain works in a protective way. It's resistance to change. Ooh, we got Bobby in Cube. Oh, Bobby, come on in. You're going to say it, aren't you? What's your goal?
What is my goal for this year? It's the chickens. And I was sitting here thinking about it, and I know absolutely nothing about raising chickens, but 2 years ago, I knew absolutely nothing about a greenhouse either. So if I can do chickens halfway as well as the greenhouse turned out, I would have a lot of eggs and plenty of meat to put in the freezer too. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Oh, Bobby, I could see your chicken eggs already. They're going to be like ostrich eggs. Because you don't do things small. Everything with you is big.
I have no idea what kind of coop I'm going to build or, anything like that, but I'll sit down one day with a pencil and a piece of paper and start drawing it out, and then I'm one of these people who starts the building process, and about halfway through it, I change my mind, and then it just goes in a totally different direction, so we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to say something to the lady who called in about making the videos and things, and as you said about the radio show, how comfortable you are, I'm not to that point yet with the radio process. I still got a long ways to go. But as far as making videos go, the one thing that I would say to anybody is just be yourself. And also, if you can, if it's in your budget, get a tripod where you can just set it up and be stationary, so that even if you don't have the communication skills down right at the start, that people won't be complaining about the shakiness and things like that, and they can at least sit there and listen to you and not, try to give you a hard time about it. So I think having the tripod makes a big difference, especially if you were just going to start out brand new.
Yeah, and you can pick up those tripods for like $10. I mean, they aren't expensive, and you're right, because when you're just starting out and people are saying, your video's shaking, you're clanking your spoon on the bowl, you're doing this, you're doing that, it's like, why am I bothering? But, just give them one less thing to complain about.
Yeah, and then if you go and let YouTube do their image stabilization thing, when they go to watch the video, it's like this square that's just flipping back and forth across the screen, and I see people all the time complaining about, they're getting seasick and they're getting drunk and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, don't, just stop watching, don't. I tell people all the time, when somebody is brand new, when they are just getting started making their videos, it's a learning process, just like anything in the world. Just cut them some slack, send them a PM, something. If you're a semi-professional or you do very good at videos, try to help them out instead of sitting there just trying to, slam them and leave a negative comment and, trying to discourage people. I think there's a lot of information out there that I don't know, that people know stuff that can help me, but if they don't make the video, I'll never learn about it. So if they make it and it's still kind of shaky, to me, I don't care. I'm just looking for the information, not so much concerned about the delivery of it itself. You just get me pointed in that direction, and I'm with you.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of, my philosophy is that I'm more about the information. If my videos aren't perfect, well, then, you can choose not to learn from me, or you can choose to learn from me and deal with it. I just got a new camera for Christmas from my children. They were so generous, and thank you both kids for that wonderful gift. So my videos are going to be a little wacky for a while as I learn my camera. But, the information is going to be solid. And so I would suggest to people that are just starting out, don't worry. Ignore the negative comments. Honest to goodness, ignore them. There's going to be enough people out there that care about what you're doing and are interested, and those are the ones you need to focus on. Just ignore the bad comments. You'll learn as you go and relax and have a good time with it.
And I'm not sure about people that are brand new, whether they can make a video private or unlisted or something, but if they can, if they wanted to, make your video, do it unlisted or private, and let a couple of your friends see it, if you're not real comfortable, and let them review it and give you helpful hints and things before you decided, if you wanted to, before you put it out there, for the rest of the world to see. That would be a really easy way for somebody to put this stuff out there and get some constructive criticism, and then, practice at it, and then when they got comfortable, say, okay, here we go. Let's do this thing. I didn't do that. I walked around my greenhouse, and as I said in my Christmas video, I said and the other thing, I didn't know anything about editing, so the problem that I had as I walked around the outside, when I got ready to go in the greenhouse, it was so hot and humid in there that the camera lens fogged up, so I had to do it in 2 takes.
Well, okay, so Bobby, your goal is chickens. Now, is that the whole thing? You're going to have chickens by the end of next year with your coop and everything and all your learning? All of that's going to be done by next year?
Yeah, I can do chickens. That shouldn't be too hard a deal. I hope not anyway. The other thing, my wife wants to get a little goat. she saw a video of somebody had a little jumping goat that was bouncing around. I don't know if it was on YouTube or the TV, one or the other, but this cute little goat that was just bouncing around. And she saw one on TV yesterday, and she said, I want a goat. You know, it was actually playing with the dogs and everything. So I might have to do that, not so much for playing with the animals and things, but I'm thinking more along the lines of a milk goat. I mean, if you look at the price of milk in the grocery store right now, and that's just ridiculous. So if you had a milk goat and I had chickens and I got vegetables, I'm set.
There you go. And I hope you make sure you like goat milk before you go and get a goat to have goat milk. And G-Man says he hopes to hear about your progress during your radio shows on your chicken.
All right.
Okay?
I will.
All right.
I will try to fill it in. All right. Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas, Bobby. We'll see how you do next year. All right. It looks
Bye-bye.
like we've got Genius in Exile.